What's up, Warsaw?
It's the What's Up Warsaw show. All of the upcoming events around the county with the Warsaw Chamber of Commerce. Now, on to the show.
And welcome to Benton County Enterprise TV. I'm Mac Vorce with the Warsaw Chamber of Commerce. What's up, Warsaw? What a heck of a weekend we were last weekend with the Epic coming to town. 332 riders were registered for the Epic, and it was an epic day, that's for sure. This is Ron Bench right here. This is Mike Sutherland. Ron, you participated in the race, right?
Yeah.
And what did you think about the route?
Oh, the route was so cool because we went through towns and communities. Just a really great event all the way up to Otterville, which was really cool for me to get to see that town.
The weather lived up to the name, wasn't it?
Epic
It was.
Epic weather.
Yeah. The riders started in Drake Harbor, traveled to Otterville. This is something that has been in the works for quite a while. The Butterfield Stage Experience was something that we have redeveloped, and it was very, very crucial as a main spine across Missouri, kind of like a linear trail. This really brought a lot of historic sites together. It really brought a lot of communities. It crosses 9 counties and 27 main streets were hooked together. This is very, very important for our area, for a different type of tourism. And Mike Sutherland, head of Missouri Parks.
Yep.
Give
Missouri
us the real title.
No, I'm the director of Missouri State Parks.
Okay. And stuff like this, the Butterfield and the Epic, really play into a lot what we're going to be talking about today. Because, again, like I said, it's linking communities together right through the downtowns. Today we are going to talk about the Rock Island Trail. Very, very crucial piece of transportation, linking communities together. Can you give us just like a little background? If they don't know about the Rock Island, give us a little background of the Rock Island.
Well, the Rock Island corridor was a corridor that used to be the Rock Island Railroad, and it runs kind of east and west. Right now we have the Rock Island Spur, the Katy Trail, that runs from Windsor up to Pleasant Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also talking right now about developing the rest of the corridor east that would go from Windsor all the way across the state through places like Stover, Versailles, Buford,
Yep.
Gerald, all the way
Coal
over.
Camp.
Coal Camp.
Coal Camp.
Right.
Very, very vital
Close
spot.
to Coal Camp, all the way across the state, and it also at Windsor links into the Katy Trail. So it has the potential, if the corridor is developed into trail, about 400 miles of rail to trail corridor spanning and linking communities all over Missouri.
And this is a very unique situation for the Rock Island. This could be very, very beneficial for Benton County because we do have the Butterfield, but the Rock Island really has the opportunity to connect to Truman Lake and Lake of the Ozarks now because of what we've done with the Butterfield, right?
Yeah, because the Butterfield runs right into it,
Mhm.
and into where the corridor goes, and the corridor goes really close to Eldon, which is near the lake, and Versailles
Yeah.
kind of onto the lake. So there's also kind of routes that could be connect through gravel or pretty nice roads down to the Lake of the Ozarks, and you're also connecting just rural communities. And the neat thing about the Rock Island corridor, which we're hoping to develop, we're still a ways from doing that, but it links communities about every 10 miles. There's a community. You have Ionia, you have Coal Camp, you have Stover. You just keep hopping across,
Right.
and so that's pretty cool because not only does it link the communities, but it also goes right through a lot of the communities, linking the communities themselves. So, for instance, in Versailles, it creates kind of a trail rib right through town.
Right through the middle of town,
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah, so-
Ron and I, we went up to Versailles, probably maybe
Yeah,
3 years
2
ago.
years ago.
2 years ago. And we got to talk with the city council and told them, hey, look, this Rock Island is a for real deal, and they really got to get ahead of preparing the town for it. And they passed, it was like some stormwater stuff, but it was sidewalks and that type of stuff, correct?
Yeah, they passed kind of a stormwater tax that allows them to redo sidewalks. The Rock Island goes right past their downtown. They've already seen new restaurants starting to pop up in anticipation of that. And so it's about 3 miles of trail that goes through Versailles that would be a huge economic driver, and safe routes to school,
Right.
people getting to work, groceries, all of those things.
Yeah. And we're sitting here chatting about how great it is for communities. I was lucky enough to be able to go up to Pleasant Hill for a mountain bike race. But what was going on the Rock Island up there, it was a whole trails day. And that was what was so neat. Right down that town, they had food trucks. People are riding up and down the Rock Island Trail. It really has changed Pleasant Hill.
Mhm.
It truly has changed Pleasant Hill.
It's changed Pleasant Hill. It's changed Windsor. There's businesses popping up all around Windsor, and then if we look at the Katy Trail, which is a similar rail to trail development, you can see towns all along there that have really had an economic surge and tourism surge, and all good people coming in, and even some people moving to those areas for jobs because of
Because
the
of
trail quality of life that it
Yeah.
brings. So it's really I think a great thing, not only for the state but also a great thing for the communities that are near it. And you don't have to be right next to it, because just from here you could just go right up the road and be on the trail through the Butterfield connection,
Right,
and,
right.
and be right up on the trail. So it's pretty cool.
And towns like Lincoln, very, very important. We developed a route leaving Lincoln, going into Windsor, and it jumps on the Rock Island Trail. And you ride right over, hop on the Katy Trail. It took us up over to Otterville. We had this little leg that we did, picked up the Butterfield, right back through Cold Camp, right back into Lincoln, 104 miles. And that's why all of these extra routes are going to really be a draw off of the Rock Island. What am I trying to say? Get behind the Rock Island. That's what I'm trying to say. Get behind the Rock Island, because it's very, very vital to Benton County, because we have, with Warsaw pushing all of its trails, the mountain biking, the levee trails. Now we have something like the Epic that has moved to Warsaw. These are huge. I'm a special events guy, but special events help highlight
Sure.
particular pieces of trails. And I can't wait to see what we can do as this develops. Okay, so you did say something. We're not quite there
Right.
yet. Okay, we still have. It could be years to go.
Right.
But we have to work really hard so that everybody else who's behind us has something to look forward to. So let's give a little bit of like timeline. How do we get to where we're at right now?
Well, one of the things that we're doing is we're working towards accepting the Rock Island corridor into the Missouri State Park system. We haven't done that yet.
Okay.
We're hoping that will happen. And though we're really doing it in a different way, where we're really working with communities and philanthropic groups to really develop this corridor together. It's a 104-mile corridor across Missouri. And so that creates some challenges, but also creates some great opportunities.
Right.
And so, like you talked about Versailles, and they're doing some things to partner with Missouri State Parks. Same thing, Windsor's doing the same kind of thing. I expect other towns along the corridor and counties, and we're working with the Regional Planning Commission and trying to figure out the partnerships that can make it all happen. And if we work together, and if we have a lot of support, a lot of involvement, we've had a lot of policymakers being supportive of of the effort. If we all come together in that support, it can become a reality. And so hopefully we get to the point where we can accept it. We'll know probably within the next year if we do that. And then once if it's accepted and we're able to do that, because the acceptance kind of depends on whether we're able to manage it just from our resources and the resources that others are partnering with us.
Yep.
So we do need a lot of partners. But if that happens, then in some places the development will happen pretty quickly. In other places where it might be a little more challenging, it'll take a little while. But it's 144 miles, so it'll take some time, but that hopefully development will start sooner rather than later.
Right. Ron's with the Missourians for Responsible Transportation. How does this play in? The Rock Island, again, backbone, can really bring a lot of communities together. How does this play in for all the stuff that you work on?
Yeah, so again, it's 144 miles addition. It ties into a huge system. So combined with the Katy, that's going to be about 450-mile loop.
Right.
So it's a huge draw for the state. We're going to have people from around the country, around the world, that are going to be able to come and do backpacking or bike packing around this thing. That makes it extremely unique. For our towns and communities, the safe routes to school or the transportation for those towns is huge. If you go to Stover, Versailles, Owensville, you're already going to see people on this corridor using it as a walking path to get to work or to get to their jobs. They're not.
So you're saying some spots in these communities are already taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an open corridor, but definitely it's a safe route rather
Gotcha.
than being on a road or getting to a grocery store. When this opens up, that's going to be a huge thing, not just for tourism, but actually the health of these communities.
Right.
And a healthy community is a more prosperous community.
Yeah.
It's an economic driver in itself. So we see this as part of an important system. There's also with the Butterfield, that's going to link Springfield. That gets you up to this. All of our major cities are going to be connected by a trail system.
I
which is
can't
huge.
stop smiling when you say stuff like that. That is just fantastic. Now, each route is going to be a little unique. The Butterfield is definitely backcountry, frontier type riding. There are a lot of hills. Your GPS will lie to you. It won't really give you accurate. But the Rock Island is a little bit different than the Katy Trail.
It is.
How does it vary?
The Katy Trail runs along the Missouri River in a lot of areas, and it goes through some towns, but a lot of it is just kind of really small communities. But where the Rock Island actually that runs through, and you talk about all the towns that we've talked about today, they're pretty significant towns, pretty big communities. And so it serves as really more of a connection between those communities, and also, as Ron was talking about, a connection within those communities. And that's a little bit different. It's very scenic, a lot of woodland. It really is a beautiful experience. It's pretty flat.
Right.
So if you have your Butterfield, where you can ride hills if you want, but if on the corridors, on the rail corridors, they're pretty flat, pretty easy to ride, and can create access and experience pretty much for any level of rider or runner or walker. And we just see people from all over, as Ron was saying, all over the country, all over the world.
All over the world, yeah.
On the Katy Trail and the Rock Island Spur, and that would likely happen. And really, we're a great. One of the things that's really important for Missouri State Parks is to be a good community member, and we really work with the landowners along the corridor on the Katy and the Rock Island, work with them very closely because we want to be a good neighbor. And I think almost just about every, if not every, neighbor that we have, landowner along those corridors, would agree that we're a good neighbor. And we intend to do that along the Katy, or along the Rock Island corridor as well.
Yeah, and that's the neat thing is having the Katy Trail in place already. It kind of worked out a lot of the kinks along the way on that one. And that, how long has the Katy been open now?
About 30 years.
30 years. So in 30 years, you really kind of work out, how do we move cows from one side to the other?
Right.
That's an important deal,
Right,
right?
right.
Especially you coming into this area, the landowners are gonna, but you already figured it out, right? I know I've been up on the Katy Trail, and the gate opens up on one side, opens up on the other, literally blocks the trail. The cows go across, farmer shuts the gate, we started riding again. It was that simple.
Yep, yeah, and we worked that out so that we were, again, a good partner, a good neighbor with the local landowners and try to accommodate whatever they need. And one thing on the Rock Island corridor that isn't developed yet, a lot of it runs along the highway, not all of it, but a lot of it runs along highway corridors.
Yeah.
And so some of those types of issues won't be as significant. There's a few places, but we'll work that out.
Right.
But fairly, most of it all runs along the corridor, so a lot of those type of landowner issues are really not quite the same. They're actually a lot easier along most of the corridor.
Nice. Okay. So how long has this project for the Rock Island got to this point? How long have you guys been pushing to get this going?
Oh, well, it's years and even decades, really.
Okay.
It was actually even prior to when the Katy Trail was developed, there was at least some discussion
Oh,
about
wow,
it.
okay.
And then kind of things changed and it kind of went on the back burner for a while, but we've been working on it for about 4 years, trying to get to this point, and I think we're really getting close to the point where Missouri State Parks is able to accept the corridor.
Okay.
And then once that happens, we'll work with communities in the development of the corridor. Missouri State Parks won't do all of the development. It'll be with local partners, local communities, philanthropic partners. It's going to be done a little bit different than the Katy Trail was.
Okay.
Where Katy Trail was kind of just a state-only project, where the Rock Island corridor, this 144 miles, is going to be a partnership with Missouri State Parks and the local communities, local landowners, and all of that through. So it's a little bit different model. Actually, it's a more similar model that has been used for rail to trail projects around the country. Actually, the Katy
Okay.
Trail is a little unique, where the state just did all
Said
the
we're going to
development.
do it, and we made it happen.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But the support from communities along the corridor has been tremendous. So I'm really confident that it's going to be successful once we're
Yeah.
able to move forward.
Well, when you have, and I'm going to go back to the Pleasant Hill, when you have success in a community like that already, it's really easy to go, here's our example.
Yeah.
Do you want to be like this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for both the positives and the, sometimes there are people that have concerns.
Right.
And that's understandable that people might have those concerns. But we have all the examples where we can kind of answer those concerns, and also our experience, our dedication really, and commitment to being a good neighbor, I think sets a lot of folks at ease as well. So.
Okay. Hey, Tyler, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to kind of get a timeline of what are the next things that need to happen, where do we go from today into the future. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Luke Beeman with Reese Nichols Golden Key Realty. We're located north of Warsaw on Highway 65. We have 14 real estate agents with 275 combined real estate years of experience. Give us a call at 660-438-7228. Please visit us on our website, reeseandnichols.com.
And welcome back to Benton County Enterprise TV. We are talking the Rock Island and a beautiful vision of the future. We've kind of gone through, kind of how it got started. I think we've made a really good sales pitch on why the heck you guys need to be behind this thing. I do encourage you to become a Bike Federation person. Join the Federation because they do a lot of partnering too. If you want your voice heard, Brent Hugh does a lot of talking for a lot of us. So that is definitely one organization you can get behind because they're always fighting for more riding in and around our areas. So once the Rock Island becomes part of the state park, what kind of steps, where what's our, from today, what are we looking at into the future? What's our short term goals and what's our long term goals?
Well, the short-term goal is to get us to the point where Missouri State Parks can accept the corridor. One of the challenges is we have 92 parks and sites all over the state, and so our funding is, while stable, doesn't expand quickly. And so the 144-mile corridor, as you might think and expect, is
Right.
expensive to not only just hold and maintain, but also to develop. And so for that to be successful, we really have to partner with communities. And one of those partnerships is the legislature set up a Rock Island Endowment Fund a few years ago. So it's a place for funding to go that is only dedicated to developing the
nice.
Rock Island corridor. And so we're hoping to get adequate funding into that fund so that then we can accept the corridor knowing that we can do the things to maintain it, be able to respond to landowner concerns, be able to respond to community concerns, all those kinds of things. And if that all is successful, and I think it's going to be, we're working towards that, then we will be able to accept the corridor into the Missouri State Park system. And then from that point, we will start working with communities. We're plan to develop a master plan, so to speak, for the entire corridor, so that if when it's developed, even though it might be developed by Versailles in one area, Owensville in another, Stover, in another, that there is a plan that for the user, for the rider, it's a seamless experience. Each community might show their own identity, and highlight their community, but as far as the rider or walker or runner experience, it's all going to be kind of seamless. And it'll be similar to the Rock Island Spur off the Katy Trail that goes from Windsor to Pleasant Hill,
Yes.
or the Katy Trail kind of in look and feel, but there may be some uniqueness added to it for
Which
each
we
community.
hope that.
Yeah,
We
it's
want
gonna be
that,
cool.
and that's what I loved about our event over the weekend was every town had their little bit of themselves added into it,
for
and,
sure.
and hopefully along the
Yeah.
Rock Island, I can see cruising into Coal Camp and going, oh, you can tell this is a German
Yeah.
heritage
Yeah, for
because
sure.
they can do those kind of things to make themselves unique.
Yeah, and yeah, that's what we're hoping too. I think that's going to kind of set it apart. You asked what might set it apart from the Katy Trail. That's one thing that would set it apart, and we're hoping that happens. And then, as far as timeline on development, it's a 144-mile corridor. Some areas are going to be easy to develop. They might run through a town, and really there isn't a lot of construction needed.
Right.
There are other areas that are a little bit more remote. There might be a river, a bridge that's needed. There are 3 long tunnels in kind of the midsection of it. There are challenges. And so some areas will take longer to develop. The Katy Trail, actually, even it's 30 years old, but we're still kind of finishing it. In some cases, we had a section that we just added in Sedalia just not long ago. So to say it's completely done, it's not quite completely done, but it's certainly over that time, sections were developed, and that's what will happen. Some sections will develop very quickly because it's easy. Some areas may take a little bit longer because there's more infrastructure needed and because the expense is so much greater. So it'll be a long-term development, but something that definitely will connect communities and get it done.
So when the Rock Island comes into a town, right? Does the town? Let's take Versailles for example. Beautiful. This thing goes right through the middle of their downtown. It kind of diagonals right through. But if you guys get in, can they develop their own stuff? Could they be helping get their own area taken care of?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
That's actually the expectation. That's actually the plan, is for the communities to actually do the development. Kind of have that master plan of here's what the construction needs to kind of follow, but then each town will also add its identity. But then hopefully, and I think that from talking to community leaders in most of the communities, they're ready to do it, and that they will actually do the construction. We'll kind of manage it so there's a seamless kind of experience, and so that there's consistency. but each community will really be doing kind of their own thing.
So you'll have a map, and I love plans. Randy Pogue is the master plan developer of master plan developers. If you don't have a plan, it only remains an idea. So you put it down on paper, you develop a plan, and that's how the magic starts to happen. So I'm loving hearing a master plan. That is the key to success.
And as we do that planning, we'll be having meetings in communities, visiting with folks in the community, because a plan is only as good as the community communication, the community
Correct.
involvement.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very much a two-way communication to get to that point. We'll have meetings along the corridor, and so there'll be a lot happening. People have a lot of opportunity to have input on what the final trail looks like.
And what I like as a chamber person, obviously, is the economic side of this. Okay, we know that bringing in the Epic 150 here into Warsaw, it made the weekend. It was different. Restaurants, lodging, the stores up and around the downtown area. It makes a huge difference. Now, we may not even see all the differences on a daily basis, but a special event highlights it, right? And that's why I love special events. But it's the people that show up ahead of time before a special event and then keep returning over and over and over again after their experience. And that's what we're going to be able to see with this too, is, hey, let's put on a special event, highlight it, but it's that consistent return from repeat customers over and over again. That's a huge buy-in, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and that's going to happen. Somebody might come to a community, say it's coal camp, and they didn't know anything about it.
Right.
And then they get there and they say, oh, there's this beautiful downtown. It's so quaint. This is awesome. There's all these great shops and neat restaurants. I'm going to come back.
Right.
I know in Missouri State Parks, we're experiencing that right now. Last year we had a lot of new visitors. Well, because we were always open, a lot of other things were closed. Well, this year we're still having a really high attendance, a lot of people coming because they discovered us last year,
right?
And they liked it, and they're coming back this year. And that's the same thing that happens with special events like you had with the Epic. People came, they discovered Warsaw. Well, they'd never been there, but wow, what a cool place! They'll be back.
It is so interesting. We've been putting on mountain bike racing here since late 08, early 09. To hear the riders that were down in the harbor going, I know they've been coming here. I know they have been coming here. To hear them go, wow, I did not know that we had such an amazing downtown down here. This was a game changer for us, and that's why I'm so excited to get the information out about the Rock Island, because you guys will see a difference. It's going to take time. But you will see a difference from people coming through the communities. They all have wallets. They want to eat and they want to drink and they want to go shopping. It all just really pulls itself together. So economic impact-wise, working with NICA, which is the middle school, high school mountain bike racing, this has been going on long enough all over the country that they've been able to do true economic studies on it. And if 400 kids show up to a start line, they're figuring it's 1,200 people, and that weekend is roughly a $240,000 impact into the community. Okay, so that's why these things are so intriguing. As a bike packer, right? When we go in for food, are you worried about what the price is, or are you worried about eating enough?
No, I need to get food, and I just pull out my credit card
and eat away, right?
Yeah.
And those are the things that are proven already on the Rock Island with the Pleasant Hill and oh gosh, was it Calhoun? No, Calhoun's on the Katy Trail.
Got Chilhowie.
Chilhowie. There's another huge example of success.
Right.
What's happening down there?
Yeah, they have, I think it was the Chilhowie General Store that was there. That was one day for Father's Day. My son said, let's go, where do you want to ride? And I said, I want to ride to Chilhowie, because I had heard about this town, has this unique little place where you can go eat. And so they've seen a lot of development. Things are happening in that town as well. So yeah, that happens. You'll see that over and over. We've organized bike rides where we will meet somewhere, and then we find out later that the people who went on the ride are bringing other people back to that
Back to
town.
it, yeah.
So they'll bring their wives or kids, and I do that too. I'm going to take my wife to Otterville now that I've ridden through there. I'm like, that's a cool town. I wanna go. Let's go eat there and that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and that's what I love about these things. You just get to see the success. So how in the heck can all these people start helping you?
Well, I think, working with Ron, Ron's been really helpful with the Missourians for Responsible Transportation and in helping support and promote. But just, letting people know that they support it is one way. And then also letting community leaders along the corridor know that they support it. And then also there may be philanthropic opportunities to donate as we move forward. And so that would be helpful as well. So, and then also when we get to the point, if we get to the point, I think we will, to where we're having those community meetings, kind of finding out, hey, we want your input. That's really where people can have the most influences. Come out to those meetings, let us know what you want in positive, what your concerns are, and we'll figure it all out and have a discussion and have communication. That's really, I think, ultimately will be the biggest impact folks can have.
Okay, so if I'm so I should be going up to Coal Camp and getting with the mayor up there, going, hey, we really need to get behind this, right? And these are the reasons
That's
why.
something you could do.
Okay.
That's something you could do.
Yeah. All right, Mayor Borman, we are coming to talk to you. But it's really intriguing, And Coal Camp, I think, is really seeing the benefits already of cycling because we were able to get the Butterfield done. But this just is a tip of the iceberg of what could really happen. Don't you think?
It's possible, yeah. I know the experience that we have along the parts of the rail corridors that are already developed, there's no reason to think that experience won't carry over.
Right.
And so from that experience, the answer is yes. The communities where the corridor goes through and the trail goes through have had a benefit from that.
And the nice thing is we know we already have customers for the Rock Island. The Katy Trail, how many people visit the Katy Trail in a year?
Oh, I don't know the exact number, but it's hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, it's on any given day that it's because it's 240 miles across the state. There are thousands of people on it every day.
Yeah. So lots of good stuff happening. How can people get educated? Where do they go? I want to learn more about this and I want to get involved. How do they do that?
You can go to our Missouri State Parks website. So if you just search for Missouri State Parks and click on the link, it'll take you to the Missouri State Parks website. And then there's a link in the Missouri State Parks website that says Rock Island Corridor. And you click on that and it takes you to everything there is to be known. It shows the route of the corridor. We had some public input earlier where we had over 8,000 comments. That's all on there. There are letters of support from communities. You can read those. We have a frequently asked question section that really covers just any question you could think of.
What do you think is the most frequent question? Like the number one, what do you think is the biggest question?
I think the biggest question is, when are you going to do it? I think that's the number one.
That's an excitement question.
Yeah, that's the number one question that we get, and really that answer is still yet to be determined because a lot of things have to happen before that corridor is developed into a trail. But that would be the number one question, I think, is where it goes and when's it going to happen.
When can we get her going? Yeah. All right. So more information, go to the Missouri State Parks website. For Missouri's for Responsible Transportation, that's what I love about this, because this is tourism, but it's also the health and wellness of a community too, right?
That's right.
And we're bringing all the aspects together. It just is one great giant happy goal. to do, don't you think, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you have questions, feel free to get a hold of me. If I don't know the answers, by gosh, I know how to get a hold of people that have the answers. We will keep updated about what's going on, any kind of town halls around. If you have questions and want some guidance of how to get involved financially or just a voice, we're here for you. So go to the Missouri State Parks website, get educated, get the information. You guys, this is for a greater good for the whole communities. Every place along the way will have a better quality of life in their own, and their tourism will definitely go up. There's too much proof out there to say anything different. So, well, thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, we'll have you on more often,
Sure.
so we can have updates. Sounds good to
and we
me.
can talk about Truman State Park as well. It's just up
Just up the road,
Yeah.
and we have a new feller out there.
Yeah, new park superintendent. So
Yep.
He's going to be great.
I'm
And
ta-
we give a chance to meet him. and
Yep,
it'll
I
be
met
awesome.
him the other day. He came
Yep.
in, he called up, and I said, "Hey, we don't have any brochures down here." I'm telling you, that guy was probably on a cell phone because it seemed like we hung up. What is his name? What's his?
Brian Hunter.
Brian. Yeah, Brian. He was down there just like that. So we were able to get a ton of information out to the Epic riders because he just was like that. He took immediate action. So it's great to have partners like that. Beautiful park out there. Great marina out there and food. It's just a beautiful, beautiful backdrop out there. I believe Warsaw Adventures actually has some paddling and a dinner coming up
They
there
do.
real quick.
They do.
Yeah, so that's really neat. Again, taking advantage of what we have to offer. So, alrighty, well, thank you all for coming by. Hey, this weekend, don't forget, is the off-road Xterra triathlon out at Starrett Creek. Registration is still open. And we go off at 9 o'clock. Truman Lake Adventure Club is hosting this out at Starrett Creek Marina. It's going to be fabulous. You get to swim, you get to go ride the Truman Lake Mountain Bike Park, and you get to run around Starrett Creek Village. You doing that, Tyler?
I'll have to train for it, that's for sure.
Okay, great. It's Saturday.
Oh,
All right, I got that bike ready for you. Adam said he wasn't gonna do it, so.
I'll take his place, I guess.
All right. Hey guys, thanks for coming by and having fun with us. We'll see you next week.
This has been a BCE TV production. Thank you for watching.